What's up YouTube? Thanks for dropping by. I'm Jared the Tech Avenger, and today we are going to give you our perspective on the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. As a quick disclaimer folks, if you came here to justify your purchase, I'm sorry to tell you that this video is not for you. Or maybe it is. Point being, we spent our own money on this device and we are going to give you our brutally honest take on this product, whether you like it or not. So aside from keeping count on how many note puns I make throughout this review, let's see if the Note 9 is noteworthy. Roll it. About 11 years ago, Microsoft's then CEO Steve Ballmer famously scoffed at the notion of Apple's first generation iPhone being too expensive at $500, and went on to say that no one would buy such a device. Well, we all know what happened in that last decade, so I won't reiterate. But it's nice to reminisce about a time when a top-of-the-line smartphone was only $500. Sadly, times and the market has changed, and now the reality is that manufacturers are continuously pushing the boundary of what consumers are willing to pay for a high-end mobile device. And the latest offender of this trend comes from the Korean tech giant Samsung. Starting with a price tag of 1,300 Canadian unsubsidized, Samsung has made one thing very clear. This is a phone for the elite. The past iterations of the Galaxy Note and S series were all marketed as such, but it's with the 9th generation that this has become an undeniable fact. The good thing is that it shows. Out of the box, we find a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display, the biggest yet from Samsung's Galaxy Note product line. Everything inside is equally massive, with 128 gigabytes of storage in the base model and tops out at 512 gigabytes for the higher end version. Combined with a micro SD card slot that can support up to 512 gigabytes of additional storage, and with 6 to 8 gigs of RAM, this thing is an absolute powerhouse and could potentially even replace your desktop PC, which we'll talk about more later on. Aside from the smartphone itself, you can find the instruction book along with a SIM eject tool, USB-C wall adapter, and a USB-C cable to get you started. You also get some AKG 3.5mm earbuds, which I'm sure sound amazing, extra ear tips, a clip for, I'm assuming, the Galaxy Pen along with extra pen tips, and finally a USB-C to USB-A adapter if you want to hook it up to your computer. Samsung has always put a lot of care into its packaging, and with the Note 9, it's no different. The first thing that came to mind when I felt the device was, wow, holding this feels incredible. While the Note 9 screen is slightly larger than last year's model, it is important to note that it's almost the same size. Keeping in line with the rounded edge displays found in previous models, you can expect to find all the traditional bells and whistles. On the bottom, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, coupled with a USB-C charging port, a primary microphone, speaker grill, and of course, the signature built-in pen, now with embedded Bluetooth technology. At the top of the device is of course the earpiece to listen in on phone calls, and beside it is a 8-megapixel front-facing camera with autofocusing capabilities, the first ever in the Note series. There is of course a couple sensors, the most notable being the IR sensor for low-light facial recognition and iris scanning. We also have another microphone on the housing and the tray that contains the SIM card and micro SD card slot. The right side of the device houses one lone power button. The placement is perfect as it doesn't get in the way of gripping the device. Along the left hand side we have the volume rocker keys. Again, perfect placement, not intrusive at all. Google, take note. But Samsung, you were so close. Why'd you have to go stick this here? Yes, the not so elusive Bixby button. I have so many issues with this button in general, but most of all, why is it so easy to hit? No one uses Bixby. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally toggled this useless, wannabe, virtual, thinks she knows it all Okay, I'm done. Let's move on. Finally, on the back, you can find a dual 12-megapixel camera that includes the dual aperture technology found in the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus, along with a fingerprint sensor to easily access your phone. The fingerprint sensor placement this year on the Note is a welcome change. Kudos to you, Samsung. The glass back does attract fingerprints somewhat, but nothing too noticeable. Okay, I was reaching there. Samsung has a reputation of having the best displays on the market, and booting the phone up for the first time, this continues to prove true. The near bezel-less 18.5 by 9 aspect ratio screen is bright, detailed, and full of rich colors, while also protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 5, ensuring that it stays pristine throughout its lifetime. Due to the physical nature of this curved display, however, it's becoming harder for manufacturers to create screen protectors and cases which will provide the extra protection when dropping. Just a side note that you gotta be careful with this device. The screen may be a lot easier to crack in one drop, but with a resolution of 1440 by 2960 pixels, the screen looks phenomenal, whether you're watching movies, playing games, or even just taking notes. And combined with one of the fastest processors on the market today, along with a 4000 mAh battery, this makes the Note 9 extremely versatile, handling any smartphone task with ease. I played Fortnite for hours on this thing, and it was very smooth. For all you videographers and photographers out there, you'll be happy to hear that the cameras found in the Note 9 are among the best phone cameras in 2018, although it doesn't take the crown. The dual rear cameras incorporate the variable aperture technology found in the Galaxy S9 series and further improves upon it by optimizing its own software. The technology allows you to actively switch between an aperture setting of 1.5 and 2.4, allowing it to perform well in low light environments, and also includes a 2x optical zoom for when you need to just get a bit closer to your subjects. However, when zoomed in, you're limited to shooting with the aperture setting of 2.4. While I typically turn to DSLRs and mirrorless cameras for my photography outings, I found myself whipping out the Note 9 quite often. There is one thing I need to mention in terms of the front-facing camera. I have definitely seen much better. It's not unusable by any means, but for a device this expensive, it should be much clearer. In fact, after using this for a bit, I pretty much avoided any type of selfie with this phone and opted for my Pixel XL2. The portrait mode is decent at best, but even the slightest movement made the photo blurry, and this was in brightly lit conditions. You don't want to know what it looks like in low light, but I'll show you anyway. You can see how much these comparisons lack detail for the Note 9. I don't know if I'm just spoiled by the Pixel's visual core and its amazing post-processing, but Samsung should have done a better job with this one. Video on this device is fabulous in well-lit conditions. There is improved autofocus with pretty accurate scene representation. Some of our slow motion video suffered in low light, but during the day we were nothing but impressed with the video quality. You can see from this sample how smooth the slow motion works. It sort of looks straight out of something from National Geographic. And that was with all my settings set to auto. So let's talk about that pen. After all, this is why you want the Note, right? I gotta say, it's really quite impressive how Samsung's engineers were able to cram a Bluetooth antenna and battery into this relatively thin and small stylus. It's made of plastic and seems like it could break easily if it was accidentally sat on. It has the capability of operating up to 30 feet away. The S Pen includes a button on the stylus itself, allowing you to remotely start up the camera app with a long press. You can flip camera modes with 2 quick short presses, and finally snap a photo with 1 short press, which makes it great for taking group photos, especially if you have a smartphone tripod. If you want to change what the presses do, you can even customize the actions to your liking. But keep in mind that not all third-party apps can be configured with this. Business users, on the other hand, will be happy to know that the pen can be customized to help you flip through slides in a PowerPoint presentation. So, Bluetooth features aside, popping the pen out automatically brings up a note-taking interface, just like on some of the previous versions of the Galaxy Note. Coming equipped with Android 8.1 Oreo out of the box, the Galaxy Note 9 is not quite as bleeding edge as, say, the Google Pixel, which is sporting Android 9 Pie. That being said, Samsung continues to develop features such as the iris scanner and face unlock, giving you multiple ways of unlocking your device. I've used this along with the fingerprint scanner and it's pretty accurate. I only ran into a couple times where it would not unlock immediately. It's not nearly as fast as the iPhone X when I tried it, but I'm sure that software updates will improve its accuracy. So Samsung's flavor of Android on the Note 9 is a massive improvement over previous iterations. It doesn't lag like my S7, but I still notice drop frames and stutters every once in a while. Other than that, this thing flies. In fact, a lot of apps that lag on my Pixel XL2 work flawlessly on this. Snapchat, for example, is so much smoother on here than my Pixel device. I just hope it doesn't slow down over time. I wanted to save the worst for last, so let me quickly brief you on Bixby. For those that don't know about Samsung's virtual assistant, its capabilities pale in comparison to competitors like Google, Amazon, and even Apple. In the Note 9, nothing has changed. For example, I asked the assistant to show me the closest Tim Hortons, a popular coffee chain here in Canada, and it gave me an address to Horton Road in God knows where. I also asked for the closest Walmart, and it took me to walmart.com. I guess it's right in a sense. In general, it seems to have a problem just understanding what you're trying to say, and I'm pretty sure I articulated very well as to what I wanted. Okay, we got all that bad stuff out of the way, so let's talk about something a bit more promising. The Note 9 also includes the most recent version of Samsung's DeX software, which basically turns the Note into an Android-powered desktop when plugging into an HDMI TV or monitor. Unlike previous implementations of DeX, the Note 9 simply uses the extra display as a secondary display, allowing you to use the Note normally while you type away via Bluetooth or a USB keyboard. Samsung sells its own proprietary DeX docking station, but the nice thing is that any USB-C to HDMI cable will activate this feature. While I can't really see myself lugging around a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse everywhere, I think the real benefit of this is having a docking station to set up at work, at home, or maybe even both, essentially making this a desktop replacement in the palm of your hands. In reality, this only works if you can live with having Android as your primary operating system for work and play, which thankfully can fulfill the needs of most people via apps found in the Google Play Store. I wouldn't recommend it for professional video and photo editors, but there's a surprising amount of functionality for those that just want to experiment with this idea. And with the ability to expand your storage up to a terabyte of space, it's actually pretty feasible. We're gonna do a full review of DeX in a separate video, so check that out if you want to learn more about it. I use this device pretty heavily and tried to put it through its paces as much as possible. I used it in my car, hooked it up to Bluetooth, navigation, my music. Everything I threw at it, it took it like a champ. And battery life was, in my books, excellent. I used this device with high brightness and didn't find myself reaching for a charger for the next 24 hours. For example, here's a screenshot of my usage on a typical day. I unplugged it around 10 AM one morning and didn't have to reach for a charger until about 12 PM the next day. This specific day, I used navigation heavily for a 4-hour drive with emails, calls, Facebook, and taking pictures, along with other miscellaneous activities scattered throughout. At the end of the day, we set out making this review to answer one question. Is the Galaxy Note 9 worth the price, and should you upgrade? As a tech reviewer, this is a bit of a hard question to answer. On the one hand, the Note 9 has everything you would expect. Great build quality, speed, a decent camera, and great software. To be honest, when the Pixel 2 XL came out, it was priced at around the same. I believe it was $1,200 to $1,300 Canadian. And definitely did not command that asking price. And it seems like a lot of top tier flagships fall within that range nowadays. With the rate at which these phones depreciate, I personally cannot justify spending that much outright on any phone. That being said, with my personal justifications aside, and you had $1,300 in the bank today to blow on a phone, would I recommend buying this device? Absolutely. If you can get it for cheaper or on a good phone plan, you will not be disappointed. If you spend the money outright, it might sting for a bit, but you'll somehow convince yourself that this is no big deal, and life goes on. With pretty much every top-of-the-line feature you can think of in a smartphone today, along with distinguishing features such as A, you have a base storage of 128 gigabytes with micro SD expansion. B, you have DeX to make it a desktop computer. C, you have the all-new Bluetooth-enabled S Pen. And finally, D, you have that gorgeous Samsung display. This phone will definitely keep you happy if you're deciding to upgrade. There are still plenty of other phones for much cheaper if those distinguishing features don't fancy your interest. But in a nutshell, you will not be disappointed if you get this device. That's it for today, guys. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you never want to miss another video again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell. If you want to check us out on Patreon, we have that link down below in the description. Let us know your thoughts on the Galaxy Note 9. Did you already buy it? And what do you like about the device? What don't you like? Just let us know in the comments down below. Like always, guys, I'm Jared the Tech Venger. Don't forget, when it comes to tech, the Tech Vengers are there. We got your back.